Street Hall started at Lamar's. My dad and brother were up there drinking one night and eating some chicken, and my dad asked my brother to check on this old church down here because it had been for sale for a few years at that point. The price had dropped the day before, so the price was right, and my dad didn't see the problems that everybody else saw. My dad saw a beautiful space. We were going to do condos, we were going to do law offices, it was going to be a lot of things. My wife came up with the idea of Lindsay Street Hall. My brother thought about Lindsay Street Music Hall, but we knew that this market would be tough to have a venue strictly around music. My brother kept talking about this guy who was a buddy of his, who had a band, played a really mean pedal steel, and was just an all-around cool guy.
So in the beginning, I was originally the audio guy, and then pretty quickly they moved me to be producer. And my job at the time, production-wise, was to get the bands to Lindsay Street Hall, and then to make sure that the concert went off without fail.
As we got close to Lindsay Street Music Hall piece of it, the nonprofit piece, I needed someone I could count on, and I sat down with Jack and talked about it, and Jack says to me, I'll never forget these words Jack says. He says, "Ken, I will be here through the entire project." And people have come, people have gone, people have made outlandish promises, and the constant has been Jack and me. That's just sort of been the constant here.
The very first thing we shot the Andalus and then the Keith Crispin Andalus, which ended up becoming a full-length record.
I tell her what a waste it is to keep this place without her.
They trusted me that I would get this whole thing done, even though at the time I was really only in charge of the audio and the concerts. And then after that, we did the Moon Salute, which is really great. That was our first real success, I think, in a lot of ways. That was the first time we really started to become a little confident what we wanted to do. We started lining up people we thought would be interesting acoustic-wise. Butch Ross came by and did a few songs. Butch is great. He did his looping thing, and we shot that. It was always going to be the show. There was never any test whatsoever. Like the first day we shot the audio, we shot the video. Like it came together in a package. And my job at first as producer was just to, help get all of the booking set up and just get all the kind of concert style things together and just get a bunch of material. As time went on, I started looking at more and more footage. Jack Corey came and did some really great stuff.
To get down,
and then we had Uncle Zessie was here from Chicago, and they had a layover, and we said, "Why don't you come film our show? We're going to be there today. We got everything set up." It was just kind of those magic moments.
Now I ain't got no woman at all. She left me out in the rain and snow and left me here alone. I live on the hillside all alone. I live on the hillside all alone. I chose this resting spot for my weary bones. I live on the hillside all alone.
Robert Wolfe, true story, they always say like, some people at the right place, the right time. That guy was playing on a street corner. street corner guy. He said, man, I need some recordings. Can y'all help me out? And I said, why don't we do this? Come shoot for the show. Come in sneak in about an hour early. I'll have everything set up, and we'll just roll you out a whole set. But I was glad we were able to put him on the sampler because I thought that song was great.
Girl next door, you make me burrow down into the floor, down beneath the surface, into this white circus, where colorful clouds all aglow in a frown, modest and sweet as he hustles the ground, turns to me to say, this is where we used to live.
I think when we first started shooting, it was really more of a flurry of let's get the bands down there and get them filmed, and then we would all talk later about the conceptual stuff. But then I think by the time we went through 2 or 3 directors, I had already built the concept. Even then, it wasn't much of a show, which is why the album thing came about. We were looking at all this footage, and I was like, man, this is a mess, and I don't want to really show this to anybody. A lot of it was really just unusable. We knew then, once we kind of were getting that CD together, we had a lot of good audio and no good, just not the kind of video we needed. We knew we had to get somebody to direct that really knew what they were doing.
Jack comes to me and says, I know a guy who has equipment, has years of experience and skill set, creative guy who can come in and sort of handle that piece of the puzzle.
So I called Larry Denham, who's a family friend of ours, and said, Larry, you got to help me. I got this, I'm in a mess here. I got all this material and I can't do anything with it to make it look great.
When Jack brought me on the scene, it was evident that they were trying to create something cool, but the people they had trying to put the video together just really didn't have their act together as far as how to get something like that done. He knew I had a bit of a video background. What he didn't know is that 30 years prior to Lindsay Street Hall, my senior project as a radio television major at Murray State University was a TV show called Road Bands. It was very similar to Lindsay Street Hall. We would go to bars and videotape the bands and bring it back and edit it together and throw it up on the air, and had a show on every week.
Jack introduces me to Larry. Larry comes in, completely takes over all the responsibilities for video, takes over all the responsibilities for editing.
There was a big learning curve. Going from editing with videotape to editing with a computer, there was a lot I still had to learn, and it took the first few shows to really figure out how to make things work the way we wanted it to go.
It's a team effort, and I think we really had an idea in the beginning. I think Larry was the person who really sealed it all for us and really brought the idea to life.
If Larry wasn't here, we would be recording audio and studio recordings, which are still wonderful. But showing people the space was one of my big goals. You can't hear Lindsay Street Hall. You have to see it. And Larry coming into the picture allowed me the opportunity to show the community and the region and the country what we're about.
From the minute that I stepped in Lindsay Street Hall, it was definitely a spiritual experience. To just have this awesome acoustic resonance to it. You sing one note and it just bounces back and then all around and back to you, and that was something I'd never experienced before.
Well, I'm hard on my body, yeah, and I'm hard on myself. Hard on my family and everyone else, but I'm soft on you, sugar, yeah, you know that this is true. Sweet like the summer breeze is blowing back at you.
It was right at dusk in late August, and there's sun pouring in through the stained glass windows in the back, and I found this one spot that I could look up and sing to, and it was better than any PA system I'd ever experienced in my life. I sang at this one spot all night long. Anytime I can go to Lindsay Street, to me is awesome.
Do you love the shadow of the chandelier up here? Isn't that the coolest thing? And Ken Crisp is so involved with his place. He was over here painting during sound check, making sure it was stellar and perfect for your viewing pleasure. Yay, Ken Crisp! I I love this place. I love the windows. I was told that it was de-sanctified as a church. Is this true? And so it could be this heathen expression of sensuality. So I wrote a song about that. No, I only found out this afternoon. What kind of rage is this? It throws itself out against the window pane. What kind of rage? This, it keeps me guessing, keeps me running, and us enslaved. What kind of rage? What kind of fool am I? Tell me again, I did not understand. Oh, the first 11 times. What kind of rage is this? Cloaks itself up and wanders out as fear. What kind of rage? This, it kisses cheeks, lips, and eyes, and disappears. What kind of rage? What kind of fool am I? Tell me again, I did not understand. First 11 times.
We did a lot of inside things at first, and then we said, let's try some concerts. So, man, we got to do something rock and roll, and that's when we started following Nightfall. We talked to Nightfall, and they were very supportive about what we're doing. And they said, you know, as long as you wait till we're finished to start, they usually say, hey, Nightfall's ending, please go to Lindsay Street and see the free band over there. And so,
I got problems. Your voices in my head. I went to see my doctor. This is what he said. He said, listen, only one thing will heal ya. You need that sticky, icky, skunky, funky, sweet sense of Amelia. Well, if you got the pipe, you know I got the light. And if you got the need, I got the weed. We'll all get high tonight. The side effects may include fatigue or cotton mouth, an increased appetite, or sex drive gone south. Your best lady, she may up and leave you for that sticky, icky, skunky, funky cannabis sativa. But if you got the pipe, you know I got the light. And if you got the need, I got the weed. We'll all get high tonight. Cinnamon Man, what do you want? Cinnamon Man, what do you need?
Ian Waters has been a big part of our team. Came along about mid-season and started doing a lot of the audio recordings, which helped us put other people in other situations to move the show forward. We always loved that him and his brother come by and play for us.
Little ghost, how do you hold me? Little ghost, how do you hold me? tight. In my name is Clayton Davis, and I sit and watch the clock, and I live.
There's been a couple other shows in town that we're trying to do what we did with just as little, and they gave up earlier. And I think from day one with Lindsay Street Hall, it's just been a mix of people doing what they can with what they have. We've only went out there and worked with what we had and given the best that we could. I think a lot of people would have thrown up their hands given a task like we took on and said we can't do it, or we need a lot more things. We didn't accept any of those reasons not to try to make a show.
What happened, what if, maybe, and all those things you've been talking about lately. I really wish you'd get outside of my head.
For better or worse, we made what we made. So, you know, I think that's our real strong point, is that we've never given up, and anytime we haven't been able to do something, we just go on the phone, we start calling people, begging them, please come help us.
Without a lot of resources, with a lot of volunteer help, we're just real proud of the fact that we've put together something without asking anybody for a dime. We determined in the very beginning we wanted to have video recordings, a show, and studio recordings. And we've done it. And we've done it without telling everybody what our big plan is, and then hoping that they were going to give us the money to do it.
For the most part, people have been good to us because they know that we generally just want to help the bands, and we want to make this show, and we want to let people see the bands. If that's something most people want to get behind, and like I said, if we can't do it, we're going to find somebody. So we're going to call you. So be ready. Be ready when we need you. It's been fun watching the Long Gone Darlings grow over the years. They do an Americana sound that is familiar, but they do it in their own way, and that's what really makes it so great to listen to. Smooth Dialects, along with Wolfie, have been my two favorite stories. Maria heard about us through a nice article the Times Free Press wrote about us. She contacted us and said, "You got to put our band on the show. We're perfect." You know, when I met her, I knew she was charming. I knew they were going to be just right.
It was great to be able to play a free show in town and to get the response that we got, just being a brand new baby band like we were. I was more excited because we were really grooving.
Was honest
That was the first time I wore my sparkly paisley purple dress.
Hold my hand, see where you feel talking to me, so to speak. Some more low dialects make me smile and put my fears to rest. See where you feel talking to me, yeah.
We finally got to record and we were so happy about it. It just goes to show sometimes, you know, in music you have to make your own way, and she's a perfect example of that.
It sounded so
It
good.
was really grooving. I was really excited about that.
Yeah, and we can't wait to do it again.
I don't have to tell you, you know what's on my mind. You, oh baby, you know what it takes to keep the
More than anything else, this is about the bands, and it always has been. I've had great relationships with a lot of the bands in town and, you know, throughout the region for, you know, years. And when we had this opportunity to make this, it was really great to see what a lot of bands that I thought were really great could do in front of a bunch of cameras. When you see a really good band do something really well, it's magic.
So I think the next step for us, what we've been doing all along, has been something that bands can use to market themselves. So I think the next step of Lindsay Street Hall Presents is to be more of a marketing tool for the bands that we're trying to help. Whether it's getting them exposure on YouTube or giving them a demo video that they can take around and shop themselves. That's what I see us doing. And if that includes another season highlighting more bands and more venues, then I'm all for it.
I've known the Nim Nims for years. They opened for us on one of their very first shows. I think Blake still had braces then, but they have grown a lot over the years, and it's a pretty magic thing when a band can keep its core members together for such a long time and develop it that well.
Want me on my knees, how they want me to go. Somewhere in Mexico. They got rap food without dough. They got hot rocks and fire soap. If it ain't working, you just need more. Rose paper money straight to the front door. Oh, oh. Sure spun us pretty long time ago. Was just looking for more. Doctor, put your picture up on the screen. Had you lit up like a Christmas tree. You right down, let your hands go. Back on down to Mexico. And if it ain't working, you just need more. The rose paper money straight to the front door. Oh, oh. You sure spun us pretty long time ago. You're just looking for more.
It's always funny to go back and watch this particular recording and just, I mean, my shirt's on inside out. That's how much I was doing at the time. I didn't even notice that I put my clothes on inside out because I was trying to get the lighting right and the recording right and then be filmed at the same time. It's funny to go back and watch now. It's a lot different than the show ended up being. It's nice to look back on, I suppose. The best part of it for me, I think, has been the bands. I've had such great relationships with a lot of them for years. I was put in a unique position where they were willing to take me to the bands I wanted to get. I got to see the bands I really, really like do big things. I can't say enough about the contributions Robert Parker and Larry Denham made, B. Spaz, Cisco, and Ian Waters made to the audio. They really did an instrumental part of making this idea me and Ken have come to life. They mean a lot to us, and they've made the show something I've been really proud to be a part of.
Wait a minute, you shine. If I can tell so, let 'em know I wanna watch you.
I think that we've been really fortunate to have the group of volunteers that we've had to make this work, between Ian and Con and Jack and Spaz working on just creating the best audio possible for video, and having great eager shooters like Robert Parker helping us out, getting really good shots. It really makes my job as an editor really easy.
That's been the main mission for us, is to try to provide, we want to provide as much video and audio stuff as we can of Chattanooga in this time period. We got these really interesting bands doing all this wild stuff, and then you have Chattanooga, which is really kind of in its own magic time right now, kind of growing, and you know, a lot of big things are happening here.
We've really had a great time doing what we've done, and we can't wait for the next step.
A friend of my dad's was in Pompano Beach, Florida, waiting in line to get into a restaurant, and he overhears a couple talking about videos and recordings that are being shot in an old church up in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And he stops them for just a second and says, "Are you talking about Lindsay Street Hall?" And they said, "Yes, we've heard about this place up there where they're shooting and they're videoing and recording music in an old church in Chattanooga." And it's just amazing that we have reached that far.
All about her.